Sicilian defense, French variation. Intense. That was a serious game. That game was pretty competitive. Both players had an amazing opening. That was an incredible middle game by both players. White outmaneuvered black in the endgame. Sharp games are frequently the result of starting with the king's pawn, since it dominates the center and frees up the bishop and queen on the light squares. The c-pawn in the Sicilian defense controls the d4 square. Nf3 moves the knight toward the center in anticipation of a pawn push on d4, where it will be ready to retake the piece if black captures on d4. The dark squared bishop has a fresh opening created by e6, and the queen has a new diagonal created by e6. This develops a knight from its starting square, activating it. By positioning the bishop on a potent diagonal, this fianchettos the bishop. This poses a risk of winning a pawn. This keeps the material balance in check with good commerce. Recaptures. This uses a pawn to attack the center while vying for position. This pins a knight, which restricts its mobility. This threatens to win a pawn. Castling gets the king to a safer square, out of the center of the board, while also developing a rook. Castling kingside tends to be safer because the king is further from the center. This threatens to win a pawn. It is the last book move. This is how you take the pawn. It is ideal. The opposing bishop gets kicked by a pawn, and must now move or be captured. It is ideal. After all captures, this is an equal trade. This is the only good move. It is a great move. Backs off. It is ideal. This defends a piece that is being attacked but is not well defended. It is ideal. This develops a bishop off its starting square, getting it into the action. This threatens to take an open file with a rook. It is best. This activates a bishop by developing it off of its starting square. This is the only move that works. This stops the opponent from being able to take an open file with the rook. It is a great move. This secures a pawn. It is ideal. Recaptures. It is ideal. Now that the rook is on an open file, it is easier to control squares all over the board. That's good. This moves the checking rook farther away. It is quite good. The rooks are linked by this, making it easier for them to work together in the future. That's good. It's all right. That's good. This misses a chance to seize a helpless piece. It is incorrect. The pawn is now suitably protected. It is quite good. This squanders a chance to advance a rook from its starting square. It is incorrect. What I would have advised is that. It is ideal. The best choice is this one. It is ideal. That is a regrettable error. It is incorrect. This is an equal trade. This is the only good move. It is best. Backs off. It is ideal. This wastes a chance to center a knight and give it more power over squares. It is incorrect. A rook enters the action after developing outside of its starting square as a result. It is ideal. This defends the attacked pawn. It is best. By moving a rook from its starting square, this activates it. It is ideal. On the file, the rooks are strategically doubled and forcefully combined. It is ideal. The knight is now sufficiently protected. It is ideal. The pawn is now in a safe position. That's good. As a result, the rooks are placed in a single file and are able to cooperate to pose a danger. This poses the risk of producing a passed pawn. It is quite good. This protects the attacked pawn. This stops the opponent from being able to create a passed pawn. It is good. That's a decent move. That's good. Very precise. It is best. While not a mistake, that is also not the wisest course of action. That's good. Perfectly on point. It is ideal. What I would have advised is that. It is ideal. This prevents an assault on a pawn that may have been taken. That's good. This is the only move that works. It is a great move. This keeps the material balance in check with good commerce. It is quite good. It is a fair deal after all captures. It is ideal. A pawn kicks the opposing rook, forcing it to move or risk being captured. It is quite good. This puts the opposing rook in a position to lose control of the open file. That's good. This keeps the material balance in check with good commerce. It is ideal. Recaptures. A passing pawn could be promoted as a result of this. It is ideal. When a bishop moves away from being attacked, this gains a tempo. It is ideal. The bishop is now on a square that is more secure. It is ideal. The best choice is this one. It is ideal. The knight can now control more squares as a result. It is quite good. This shifts the bishop to a square with more activity, giving it greater scope. This poses a fork piece threat. It is ideal. This makes it impossible for the adversary to fork parts. It is ideal. The knight becomes more active as a result, gaining control over more of the board. This poses a fork piece threat. It is ideal. That was a great move and very hard to find. This is the only good move. This stops the opponent from being able to fork pieces. It is brilliant. It is a fair deal after all captures. It is quite good. Backs off. Black is equal at this point in the endgame. It is ideal. This enables the adversary to seize the checking bishop. It is incorrect. Recaptures. It is ideal. It's alright. That's good. This is the only move that works. It is a great move. This defends the attacked pawn. It is best. This poses a risk of winning a pawn. It is incorrect. There were worse maneuvers, but there were also much better ones. It is incorrect. This causes material loss. It is incorrect. Backs off. It is ideal. This evades the check from the knight. This is the only good move. It is a great move. The knight is now on a square that is more secure. That's good. This makes a passed pawn, meaning no opposing pawn can challenge it on its way to promotion. This is the only move that works. It is best. This shields the knight who was attacked. It is ideal. A passed pawn is pushed by this. It is ideal. Very precise. It is best. The moved pawn advances toward its objective. It is ideal. Perfectly on point. It is ideal. This threatens to win a knight. There was only one good move in that position. It is a mistake. This prevents the adversary from being able to capture a knight. It is ideal. What I would have advised is that. It is ideal. The best choice is this one. It is ideal. Black's situation was worse, but now they are losing. It is incorrect. This threatens to win a pawn. There was only one good move there. This allows the opponent to push a passed pawn towards promotion. It is a miss. This pushes a passed pawn. This is the only good move. This stops the opponent from being able to win a pawn. It is a great move. That pawn was available for free. It is ideal. The passed pawn moves towards its goal. This is the only move that works. This threatens to promote a pawn to a queen. It is best. This prevents the adversary from elevating a pawn to a queen. It is ideal. This is the only good move. It is a great move. There was only one move that was effective, and this wasn't it? It is incorrect. This threatens to promote a pawn to a queen. It is a miss. This is the only good move. This was a game-changing move, giving white a winning position. This stops the opponent from being able to promote a pawn to a queen. It is a great move. This moves away from the knight in shining armor. It is ideal. White still has the upper hand, but they are no longer in a position to win. It is incorrect. This misses a chance to imply that gaining a knight is possible. It is incorrect. Very precise. It is best. This avoids the knight's check. It is ideal. Perfectly on point. It is ideal. Among the best actions. It is quite good. This comes in several sections. That's good. This disregards a superior strategy for dodging the enemy knight's check. It is incorrect. That pawn was available for free. It is ideal. That's a decent move. That's good. This is the way to win a pawn. It is best. Intense. That was a serious game. That game was pretty competitive. Both players had an amazing opening. That was an incredible middle game by both players. White outmaneuvered black in the endgame.